What is up, everyone? I just wanted to do a 1-year review and rundown of my 2020 Segway X160. So let's get straight into it. The first way you can tell it's a 2020 is, I think, by the serial number on the motor. It says 2020 right there, which, by the way, a lot of people think that this is the same motor as the Surron X, but it's not. The wires, I think these are 8 gauge and the Surron X is 6 gauge, I believe. If you open that motor up, the magnets and the rotor and the coils and all that, it's a little bit beefier on the Surron X and the X260. The bike has 405 miles. I doubt you guys can see that, but it's been a incredible bike. I mean, there hasn't been any reliability issues or quality issues. I've had some health problems, so I haven't been able to ride it as hard as I would if I was fully functioning, but it's been really nice. I mean, when I first got it, I mean, you're gonna get a little bit of a fork seal leak there, but that's nothing. That's been like that the whole time I've owned it. The leak stopped, honestly. I'm just gonna run over everything so you can see the wear from 400 miles. The tires, they're holding up really good. I've only had to air them up once, which is really nice. And that's how the tread looks. I can see these tires lasting well over 1,500 miles. The chain and sprockets are holding up really well. No signs of wear. You are going to have to tighten the chain quite a bit when you first get it because it's just going to stretch a little bit. The brakes are holding up good. You can't really tell. There's hardly any pad wear, and I wouldn't expect there to be. The battery holds a charge for a very long time. Like, it's sat for a month or two at a time, and it still holds a full charge. But it's not quite as snappy, but it's still showing like 95 to 100%, so that's pretty impressive. I think the biggest thing that annoys me is the battery gauge. I know that you probably can't see that, but what'll happen is you'll get down to like 3 bars and you'll be at about half battery, and then if you put a lot of load on the motor, like if you're doing a wheelie or a hill or possibly a jump, what'll happen is the low voltage will kick in and you'll be limited to like 14 miles an hour, which is really annoying. I don't know if that's a problem with my bike, like if it's the BMS or if I have like a dead cell or something. I don't think there's a problem. I just think, honestly, I'm at the max weight limit for it, which is like 170. So I think once you start getting the battery down low and you put some load on it, it just trips the low voltage thing. The belt is kind of loud, but I made a video on how to maintain that and help fix that. That's in the X160 playlist on my channel and the end of this video, which, by the way, also has like range tests, all the moto vlogs. It has the entire journey of owning this bike. I have a size comparison. I compared it to my other bikes. If you want to do wheelies or any really hard riding, you really got to be at like close to 100%. Otherwise, I mean, it could trip the low voltage thing. But if it does, you can just turn it off, turn it back on, and then just ride carefully. You know, it's been talked about a lot that you can put the X260 or the Surron X battery in this, but I see like hit or miss experiences with that, because you're gonna get a little more power, a little more range, but my fear is that the motor, you could burn it out. I mean, when people take the Surron X and start putting 72 volts on that motor, it starts, I'm starting to see people blow them up, you know. But I've just been leaving mine stock because I got a lot of gas bikes that are way more powerful than this will ever be. So that's the only bummer, is it kind of sucks that honestly the best thing to do is upgrade battery, controller, and motor, which is insanely expensive. Which gets me into my next part. That's one thing that kind of frustrates me about this bike is parts are hard to get right now. Hopefully they get better, but they're really expensive. Like, I think I saw this throttle tube, because it's electronic. I think I saw it for like $60 to $80, and this thing's hard to get. This thing's pricey. I don't know. It could be 40, 60. Who knows? And the battery's about, right now I think it's $750. And if you want that 60 volt, you're probably gonna spend $1,300 to $1,500, and then you run the risk of how long will the motor hold up, you know. I think the speed controller dumbs it down, but it's still kind of iffy. All I want is more range. But side note too, I had to crank up the rebound on the front forks, and I set the sag up higher and increase the compression and rebound because of my weight. And I really like this suspension. It's really nice, and the forks are nice. They're cheap too. And I've seen people upgrade to the R-Killers or whatever they're called, and I've seen some people go back to these just because they're not, I mean, I like them. They're nice and stiff. It fit my budget, and I didn't really want to spend much over $3,000, and at the time it was going to cost me almost $4,700 for the Surron X. And I have a list of pros and cons I wrote out, and so I'm just going to go through those really quick. I'll go through the cons first. The cons are the range is bad. You're lucky to get like 24 miles all in EP mode. If you're riding in sport mode on the pavement, you might get 14 miles if you're just keeping a constant speed. But the range isn't too great. The power and speed is pretty mediocre. Like the low end torque is really strong, but once you start getting up to speed, it takes a little bit. But it's not too bad, but it's nothing like a gas dirt bike. A gas dirt bike will smoke this. This is more like a 50cc or a 70cc trail bike. The price on electric bikes are just going to be higher than gas. That's just how it is. But from a distance, it looks like a gas dirt bike. So sometimes that can make people mad. It's not technically legal on sidewalks and the beach and stuff like that. So you could get the pedal kit for it, but I've heard it's not very functional. It's horrible in sand. It bogs so bad and it kills the battery, and part of that's the skinny tires, but part of that's just not enough power. It's slow in thick grass and dirt, and you can't ride like a tilled motocross track because the dirt's so thick, and it bogs really bad up the hills. But that part of that's because I weigh like 160 to 180. Currently, parts for the Surron and Segways are pretty hard to get. I haven't had to order any, but I see a lot of things out of stock, and the parts are definitely pricey for what they are compared to like a gas bike. Like this battery is probably around $650 to $850, and the ground clearance is not the best because it's basically Surron X or a Segway X260 with smaller wheels, so that lower skid plate and the foot pegs will catch on a lot of things when you're riding off road. Like, you can't roll big jumps either. You're gonna have to jump them. And if you have any logs, you're gonna have to slow down and kind of bump the bike over them. But that's pretty normal for a pit bike. Now I just wanted to go through some of the pros of the Segway X160. It's really good quality. I mean, there's nothing about it that feels cheap. It could blend in as a bicycle if you take the fenders off and maybe change the tires or something. It's quiet. It's quiet from a distance, you know. It's kind of loud when you're riding it, but it's not too bad. It's really easy to ride with no clutch and no gears. Like, anyone can ride it. And it's also really easy to load and store. Like, you can throttle it up the truck ramp really easily. And it's just a really good pit bike for going to like car events or motocross events or riding around your neighborhood and just putting around slowly. Or if you need to, you can bump it up and go like 30, 36 miles an hour. It's really nice that it's lightweight. It's a little over 100 pounds, and it's just so much easier to load and ride around and just store it. It's also cool that you could store it inside, like you could take it in a hotel room or an apartment. And since it's small, it fits in my truck camper shell perfectly, and the upright and the Surron X and the X260 would not clear. I'd have to lay it on the side. It's also nice that it doesn't really have like any motor heat or fumes like a gas bike. So in the summer, that's a really nice thing to have. If you made it this far, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to check out that Segway X160 playlist with all the range tests and the different terrains and the size comparison. If you have any questions, that will probably answer it. So thank you for watching.